support H.R. 359. Let's get rid of this outdated system. Without, I yield back.
Gentleman from Washington, Mr. McDermott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The short title of this bill ought to be the white flag of the United States Congress on campaign finance. My distinguished colleague from Oklahoma says, if it's broke, why don't we write a bill? That's exactly what the point is. That's why I ask unanimous consent to add into the record a letter from the White House opposing the repeal of this bill.
The gentleman's request is covered by general leave granted in the House.
There aren't very many people on this floor who were involved in politics when this whole thing blew up. You've forgotten 1972. We wrote a bill in the Congress. We didn't, but the Congress wrote a bill. Interestingly enough, they left themselves out of it. But they tried to control how much money went into a presidential campaign. Now, if you don't index it for inflation or do some kind of mechanism, it's pretty clear that a law written with the limits of 1972 are going to be pretty out of date by 2012. So there are some things we could do to change this process and make it more in sync with what's going on in the society financially. But by saying you repeal it with nothing to replace it, you simply are saying we don't care how much money is spent in the election of the President of the United States. It is of no concern to the Republican Party whatsoever. It fits very nicely with the United Citizens lawsuit that allows corporate money to come in a variety of other ways, and the system is now so corrupt that what you heard my colleague from California say, that is, all the things that were uncovered as a result of Watergate and the investigation that followed and led to the ejection of the president from the White House was because we didn't have any controls on anything. Now, did we put the perfect controls on? No. Should we be amending this bill? Yes. Because I don't know what 2012 is going to cost. Maybe $1 billion on either side. Sarah Palin will have $1 billion, and Barack Obama will have $1 billion, and that'll be all right with everybody. But the problem with that is that the ordinary folks in this country don't have any opportunity to participate, and they also know that people don't give $1 billion with no expectation of something coming back. That's what happened in '72. People gave money, and they expected something back. And that's where the real fallacy here is, in simply wiping this out without trying to fix it. It's an admission that you do not care how much money gets spent in a presidential campaign. And if that's your view of how the democracy works, I think we are in serious trouble. I'm one of those who think there should be publicly financed campaigns. I think even my opponents against me, I get 84%, but I think my opponent ought to have an equal shot at me. But the Congress didn't put that in this bill because they didn't want that. Neither did the Senate want that. They wanted to put it on the president and say, well, we fixed it over there. We really need it for this House and the Senate, as well as what's going on in the presidential election. And to simply repeal this is bad public policy. It is an admission that we don't care. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent, and I oppose the bill. I guess you get that. Mr. Speaker,
I figured that out.
I ask unanimous consent that the remainder of my time be controlled by the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Brady.
Without objection.